I want everybody from this moment on to recognize me as the scholar of boxing.
Yeah, that's it, Tim. The ropes when he got hit there with the beautiful shot back at Tony. That's the right hand. Leans back and throws with a right hand.
Most people don't know shit about boxing
At all. Did you get what you were looking for?
Caleb Plant has a clear path to victory, and he can't make too many mistakes in this fight. And I know he calls himself sweet hands, but he has to be sweet feet the entire fight and use his feet. And one of the things that he's already did is planted the seed inside David's head. He's attacked his insecurities with being fat, calling him fat boy, because all you hear David now do is talk about, you know, beating him and how he's the bully. He's supposed to be the bully in the fight, the bigger guy, and he's calling Caleb Plant the bully, who's not known to be a bully. Right there, Caleb Plant is in his head rent free. But what he has to do now is go out there and execute and build off of that. Make David be really, really tight. And like how George Foreman was against Ali, and make him want to just get him and kill him, and then he'll make mistakes and he can capitalize off of it, because a counterpuncher needs your cooperation in the fight in order for them to have success. So he's already did half the battle. But watch how Caleb Plant is living rent-free in David's head. He hasn't grown out of that fat boy image, but watch this.
David, we're about 72 hours before fight night. You look incredible. You look ready to go right now. How do you feel?
I feel good, man. We just made weight right now. It was 169, basically 2 days before the weigh-in. I feel great, man. I feel great, bro. I worked extremely hard. As you can see, I'm already on weight now, so now I don't really got to worry about weight. But it's funny, man. You're never gonna satisfy anybody. You know, at the media workout, I took my shirt off.
Yeah, show them the picture. It's an amazing picture.
And everybody's like, you see comments always talking shit like, oh, he's too skinny. First I was too fat. Now
you look
skinny,
dangerous.
You know? Like I said, Caleb Plant is in his head rent-free. Not only was he a fat kid, but he has lost his belt twice due to being undisciplined. And Caleb Plant has just really drove that home during the press conferences, and he's got on him. Like I said, now he's looking for the knockout. Now he's mad. Caleb Plant is a counterpuncher, and he needs you to make mistakes, but now he can make mistakes. Now he's tight. He can get tired fast, like with George Foreman versus Ali. So these are the X's and O's that he has to do. He's already got the mental side down. Now he has to deliver in the ring with the X's and O's and take advantage of these things. Benavidez' poor footwork leaves him off balance at times and squared up and moving the wrong foot, and he can be caught in between that. And if he catches him with the jab in between it while his foot is in the air, he can knock him off balance and create alleys where he can escape out the back door and create distance to land the shots that he needs. Look at Benavidez' footwork. He steps with his right foot first, then his left foot. He just walks to his opponent squared up, so anxious to get the inside and be rough. Right here, he's squared up, and Anthony Durrell just jabs through the center and then sends the right hand. And whether the right hand would have landed or not, even though it does land partially, it's still enough to knock him off balance because he's square. Now he's out of position. Hands aren't in any threatened position. He doesn't have to worry about any offense from him. He can take advantage of that. Right here, Caleb Plant is on the ropes, and he throws the jab to get the guy to back up just a little bit. Then he double jabs and knocks him back with the jab. Now he's on the side of him, and then he just turns, pivots, and steers him in the other direction. These are things you could exploit when you fight a fighter with bad footwork. And then now that he's on the angle, you know what he does? His favorite combination, which is the left hook to the body and then the left hook up top to the head. That is Caleb Plant's bread and butter combination. Everything is predicated off finishing with the left hook. Right here, Caleb Plant starts with the left hook to the head. Then he uses that to get to the side of him, and then he throws a left hook to the body. What do you think is coming? Left hook to the top. Like I said, that's the favorite combination of Caleb Plant. Right here, he throws a lead left hook. So he'll vary it. He'll set it up. He'll use it intelligently, but he works that lead left hand. Right here, the guy thinks it's going to be a jab to the body. Caleb Plant brings the left hook to the head. You know what he's going to do? He's going to bring it back to the body. And guess what's happening? Right back to the head. Like I said, everything is predicated off the jab. He'll establish a body attack and then start to work that lead hand. Right here, look, Caleb Plant actually rolls this time. He rolls this time at the edge of the punch and comes back with a right uppercut. Then you know what he's going to come with, a favorite combination. Then he throws a left hook to the body. And then what do you think is going to come? Left hook to the head. Like I said, that's his bread and butter punch. and it's a very effective punch, and I think it'll be effective in this fight. But I'm not buying that Caleb Plant is now a knockout artist. You remember the knockout that everybody was giving Breadman credit for? It's the same combination that he's always thrown. Left hook to the body, finish with the left hook to the head. While it was a beautiful knockout, it more so had to do with Dirrell throwing while Caleb Plant was delivering his favorite combination. So the combination of the two, the defensive flaw that Anthony Dirrell had, followed by the favorite move that Caleb Plant did, is how the fight ended up the way it did, with Caleb Plant knocking out Anthony Dirrell and then shoveling invisible dirt on him. Disrespectful. Now, because Benavidez is so offensive, he neglects defense a lot. So here he brings his uppercut from down around his knees, and the guy just catches with his right hand and shoots with, guess what, the left hook. And that is Caleb Plant's best punch. Like, look here in this sequence. He gets caught by Anthony Dirrell because Dirrell has been watching film and he knows that he throws punches with his guard down, and he just catches it on the ribs and then shoots the left hook and rocks David Benavidez. And of course he smiles, but we all know in boxing when you smile what that means. That means the person just hurt you. But I think David Benavidez will be losing this fight. And I think Caleb Plant will be outboxing him, getting the, because Caleb Plant is a front runner. I think these arm punches will be getting blocked just like they're getting blocked by Anthony Dirrell. But look right here, when he blocks him, he sticks his jab through, like, and then he holds and then he hits. There's a lot of little tricks that he uses. I think the fight is going to get real physical at some point, and I think that's going to change the tide. I think the age of Benavidez being so young and the physicality will change the pace of the fight. Like, look here, Anthony Dirrell, he grabs his forearm and pushes his head back, and then while his head is being pushed back by him and he's out of position, he tries to land the right hook, and then notice he doesn't move his arm. He keeps his arm on his chest and he physically pushing him back and then tries to land another shot. So I think that the fight is definitely going to be inside at some point, and that's going to change the pace of the entire fight, because I think David Benavidez will take advantage of Caleb Plant leaping in the clinches and trying to force the clinch instead of waiting for the right moment. He forces it. But at some point in the fight, mark my words, the fight will end up really, really physical, and it possibly could end up on the ground, just like Anthony Dirrell. I could definitely see that ended up on the ground, them falling like this. The referee's definitely going to earn his check that day, he or she or whoever refs the fight. But the fight is definitely going to be really, really physical. It could possibly be cuts and headbutts in this fight. Just mark my words on this. Benavidez is going to take advantage of Caleb Plant pulling back to the ropes and leaping into clinches with his head. He tried to get his head in a safe distance, but Benavidez is going to put that forearm on him and get really, really rough, potentially hit him in the back of the head. He's going to wrestle him down. Just trust me on this. That's where the pace of the fight is going to change. I think Caleb Plant will be effective in the early rounds, and I think the youth and pressure of Benavidez will be too much in the later part of the rounds where he starts to taper off. Remember, he was having a conversation with Canelo. He starts to taper off in the later part of the rounds, and I think Benavidez will be there knocking on the door. Like right here against Anthony Dirrell, when he was starting to fade, he lunges with the right hand. Even though these are arm punches, it's still pressure. And then he throws a left hook, and then he throws the right hook, and he's just punches and bunches. But notice here, Dirrell ducks up under the left hook, right? And what does he do when he pops up? He reaches, trying to force a clinch. And Caleb Plant will make the same mistake, trust me. And he doesn't stop punching. Notice he throws a left hook inside of that, him reaching, and he knocks him off balance and then pushes him with his right hand to pin him against the ropes. And guess what's coming? More punches. He will not accept the clinch. And then when he finally does get the clinch, he relaxes and thinks he's safe, and he should be. But guess what? Some fighters working the inside. He puts his arm up, maneuvers it, slips it out, and now it's in punching position again. That he will fight in the clinch. He will not accept Plant's clinches all night, and that's going to be the difference, right? Dirrell looking just like Plant, shooting a jab from the same position with his eyes on him, and he traps his hand inside of his forearm, trapping his hand, and then he's going to hit with the free hand. Little tricks like that is the subtle things in boxing that will change the entire pace of the fight when you got a guy throwing as many punches as Benavidez is going to try to throw. And in this sequence, he can't find a home. Like, he can't do anything because David Benavidez is so much stronger than Anthony Dirrell. he can't find peace. He can't rest. He can't do anything. And look, when he tries to get back on the ropes and slip shots, there's nothing he can do, possibly. Look, he pushes him back to the ropes and then hits him with body shots. And then when he tries to come in and clinch, guess what? Get your ass off me. He puts his forearm over his neck, steers him, and hits him. And I think this part of the fight is where the fight will end up on the floor. Whenever Caleb Plant tries to just come in, and I think the referee, like I said, is going to earn his check that day. But the fight is going to end up with Caleb Plant winning the early rounds, tapering off late, and that's going to change the entire pace of the fight when he finally does catch up to him. I don't think he'll get discouraged because of his youth and because that's his boxing style, to be consistent pressure non-stop and throw a whole bunch of punches. And I think that's going to be his strategy coming in. Unless he respects him more, and then there will be counterpunch opportunities, like when Caleb Plant jumps in with the left hook or jumps in with the jab. Right here, he throws a left hook and then catches him over the top with a right hand because he keeps his head on the right side. But like I said, I don't think Caleb Plant will get knocked out, but I think he will lose this fight. I think Benavidez is going to win by decision or possibly by knockout. It just depends on what Caleb Plant has left from the Canelo knockout, but he will taper off and he will be front running. He will be winning the fight up until the point where he gets rocked, wobbled, or possibly stopped. But anyways, the Boxing Scholar, and I'm out.